All right, we are here at Eigenworks, and there's James. Hey, James.
There we go.
Um,
I'm going to shave for this.
we I conducted a churn exit interview this morning, and I was reminded of this one little piece, which is that the churn exit interview, and this is true for win-loss interviews as well, starts when the person says something like, "To be honest with you." And I say it starts at that point because that's where you're starting to get the real story. There's, in every win-loss interview, churn interview, every customer conversation, I would say this is, by the way, also true in a sales conversation, probably also true in an onboarding conversation. I think when you're doing a QBR with a customer, there's a tipping point in a relationship, and probably in every conversation, where it goes from, I'm giving you sort of the story that I would tell anyone, to the just between me and you story. That's when the true insights start to emerge. The question is, how do you evoke the situation where you're going to get to that level of candor with the interviewee? So we conduct buyer interviews. That's all we do. We conduct new customer acquisition interviews, so win-loss interviews and analysis. We do churn exit interviews, renewal interviews, customer success interviews, midstream, pre-renewal, pre-churn, at-risk interviews of all sorts. But all we do is this interview, and we've honed this technique, and it's the buyer as hero cycle. So it just occurred to me to share this on video that the reason we spend so much time in our interviewing model, understanding and studying and asking questions about the buyer's journey, is specifically to get to that level of depth very quickly. So there's a phrase that I learned from one of my coaches, Michael Papanek, who said, we have to go slow in order to go fast. At the beginning of a conversation, we need to go slow. And it's not about chit chat. It's not, what did you have for lunch? It's not about the weather. Those are fine, sort of whatever little bit of chit chat is fine. But that's not what creates intimacy. What creates intimacy and candor in a conversation is truly understanding this person and the type of change or initiative or outcome that they're going for, and what's at stake for them, what's at risk for them. And the more time that you can spend on that thing that we call the fundamental delta, or the F delta, the fundamental change that they're trying to bring to their world, the more time and attention and insights that you can provide, and the questions that you ask about that journey and who they are and where they come from and why that matters to them, the faster you're going to get to that level of candor, that statement, just between me and you, or to be honest with you, or, to be totally frank, this was really about. That's the moment where you're starting to get the insights that can't be had in any other kind of interaction. Certainly not going to get in a web survey. You're not going to get it in a telephone, telemarketing type survey, anything like that. It has to be a study, a conversation where a peer is connecting with another peer. And so we'll probably link, I hope, to this Buyer as Hero toolkit and model, where people can find out more about that. But I thought I'd just draw it very, very generally, that the dialogue cycle goes like this, and we start by profiling the buyer on the hero's journey. We use the hero's journey, from Joseph Campbell's work, and we spend most of our interviews are about 30 minutes. We spend about the first, honestly, if you're spending 30 minutes with someone, you're spending about like 12 of those minutes just on that, just on them, their company. And then the next little bit is about their decision. And that's when we transition into that more, let me be honest with you. And so we draw that as a full circle, but it's this first part where we do the hero profile and the F delta or fundamental delta. That really is what creates that rapport and allows for that level of insight. Oh, we're panned.
We are. Oh.
Okay, great. So that's just a little vignette based on our. Oop, that's totally
Well,
correct. Can't see me anymore. Can't see anything anymore.
We didn't work out our sight lines beforehand.
Yeah, right. Anyway, so more about that in the toolkit, and we're hopefully going to put together small videos like this on a more regular basis.
Yes, and slightly more polished, hopefully.
Or maybe not. Any thoughts about this, James? Or
I think there's a discussion to be had about drawing out that honesty
yeah,
when the time comes.
okay. Well, more about that later.
Yes.
Good.